Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Collider Arrow Recap Show. We are going to talk about tonight's episode, Blood Debts. We had a lot of interesting things. A lot of arrows got fired today, and we're going to talk about all of it. I'm Jason Inman. I am standing in for the lovely Anne, who is wandering the wilderness, kind of like Oliver did for 5 years on an island. But enough talk about that. Let's get to our lovely panelists tonight, and let's get to talking about some arrow. Right over here, we have the amazing, the astounding Josh Macuga.
Hey, guys. My hood's back. I'm ready to fail this city. Unlike Oliver, he's really getting dark in this episode.
Next to him, we have David Griffin. Welcome. Thank you for coming and joining us, man.
Yeah, just speeding over here from the Flash after show. I'm obviously not in Campy, but I'm happy to be here with the bro crew, the Arrow bro crew.
And next to him, Mr. Michael Alexis. Hello, sir.
Michael Alexis, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Pleasure as always. I'm happy to be a part of the bro crew, and we love you. We miss you. We'll see you next week. I just want to throw that out there. I'm still thinking about you. You're still welcome.
All right, let's start breaking down this episode. Right off the top, I think we need to talk about the elephant. The elephant.
Timothy Oliphant in the room?
Timothy Oliphant in the room, or let's say the tombstone in the room. Yeah. There was a pretty big reveal at the end of this episode, and I think we can all state here, I don't know, David, if you made this statement over the Flash show, you might have. We all made the statement that it wasn't Felicity in that grave, and we were proved right. So
you know what you
round
can
of
do.
applause for ourselves.
I'm just going to take credit for that, too, even though I wasn't here. Yeah.
You guys can all apologize to us in the comments. You can send P.O. Box.
Make
You
sure
were
you
wrong.
#Send
me thank you emails at youwerewrong@gmail.com, and I'll take them all. guys.
Dude, how do we feel about that reveal? I mean, we all knew it was coming, or was it any kind of surprise?
I thought it was a really sexy way of kind of doing it, because they
really
did
sexy way.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I mean, they first of all we've seen in this episode of Felicity is like her in a hospital bed, whatever, and now we see her as like she's pissed in a limo, and he gets in that limo with her after what was, we assume, a funeral, and she is just, kill him. You gotta kill him. And that's the first we've ever seen Felicity really say, kill somebody.
And here's the thing. So I see that limo. I'm like, all right, we're going to get a reveal right now. So who's not in the grave? We see Felicity. And the reason why I forgot who it was here that mentioned something about Mama Smoke. And for Felicity to be that pissed off, granted, if it's somebody like, let's say, Diggle, I'm sure she'd be upset, whatever, but she was fuming. So I'm like, it could be her mom in the grave. And if it's her mother, that would make perfect sense.
David, how about you?
Do you think that was it a payoff? We had to wait a little while. We'd wait almost 6 weeks for this episode to come out. Was it worth it? Was the suspense really there? Did you think Felicity was going to? I mean,
No,
never.
yeah, we
Not
never thought that. So I feel like the
Never.
tension didn't really pay off.
Yeah.
Didn't pay off.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it started with that a sort of like Rocky IV style montage, you know, where
Drago!
I like where you're going with this.
montage
Please
in Rocky
continue.
IV, you know, when he's in
Got
the
it.
car,
Right.
and they're showing highlights from Rocky 1 all the way through Rocky 3, and he, you know, and it's cutting to when Adrian was in the hospital, when like Apollo's dying, so it's Felicity in the hospital going to surgery, and it's him out there kicking some serious ass.
Yeah.
So it had a really cool go back and forth, but I mean, I thought we would have had a little more like Felicity's still in a coma, or Felicity is, you know, on her deathbed.
They resolved it really quickly. But
Yeah.
I got to say, like, I thought one of the best things of the episode, speaking of the good things, was that opening montage of him just kicking ass and just beating up thugs. Like, where's Damien Darhk? With his Batman voice tonight. I was like, yeah, there's our season 1. There's our angry Oliver. Like,
Besides the throwing into the electrical box, which clearly
Yeah, like the door was closed,
Yeah.
but he's still like,
but I even like the scene where he broke Anarky out of the van and was like, make sure he's dead. Like, did we like our angry vigilante Arrow back tonight?
I like that Arrow. I'm not. He doesn't have to kill for me to love him, but I do like that edge that he has. You know, I know the start of this season he was all like, you know, a homemaker and just going for nice little jogs in the neighborhood and like suburban
some
neighborhood or
mimosas,
whatever.
yeah.
Exactly. And so I like
failed this omelet.
I like this edgy, you know, Oliver. He's going to get the job done. And so the fact that he was pushed over the edge, I still don't want him to kill. Don't go back. That's not who he is. And he's already made that, you know, his promise. So I like this, though. Keep going.
David, what do you think?
Sorry, go with the question again.
Do we like it? Do we like this weird dark turn that Oliver was taking in this episode?
Yeah, I want to see him go a little crazy again. It's more interesting. These guys, I mean, Oliver Queen. Stephen Amell has even come out and said that Arrow is basically a version of Batman. He said that in an interview recently. He said that. So
all of season 3 was
right, and Bruce
Batman.
Wayne is
literally a green version.
And like if you read like Frank Miller's iteration of Bruce Wayne, like he's psychotic. The dude's messed up. He's crazy. He's got some issues. You have to have issues to do what these guys do.
You have to be messed up to put on that kind of that much leather.
Yeah. So exactly, and that tight. So I want to see him go crazy. I'm liking this. I'm really happy. I like the dark turn.
Josh, I know you love the deep dark Oliver.
Oh man.
Sexy.
Oh man.
You like that deep dish angry Oliver.
I was such a huge fan of season 1, and I'd love to see him going back to like. I mean, obviously we're not seeing death per se, but he is like guys are jumping into friggin' electrical boxes and live wires, and it's
like not my fault. I didn't do it.
I mean, he's gonna kill Damien Darhk, and if he has to kill other people in the way or kill Hive members, so be it. And I'm a fan of it. Obviously, there was one point in the episode we can get into later, but
okay. Well, before we get into that, let's speak about some of these other Hive members. We saw a lot of scenes between Diggle and his brother. We got to see like kind of the polar opposites. Like at first, Diggle and his brother, like Diggle just beat the crap out of his brother. Then Diggle was like, "No, please help me." And then Diggle was like, "Yo, let's play some cards." What do we think about the progression of the storyline? Because I actually thought the middle scene where he just reasoned with them and was like, "My close friend has been hurt. You need to help me," and how he had that real talk. I thought that was the best that younger Diggle, Andy, has been this entire season.
I'm glad you said that because I felt the exact same way. Because up until now, it's just kind of like whatever. Whenever he cuts to like the cell, I'm like, all right, whatever, just snooze or whatever. But this was actually good. I liked his character. Like I said, I've said this before. I like his casting. I think they look like brothers. They really do. Aside from like the size
difference,
the
extreme height difference.
But nonetheless,
it's like
I thought
Danny
he really
Schwarzenegger.
exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But no, I thought he really carried himself really well in those scenes. And I actually liked the scene when Diggle's like beating up on him. I thought it was a little corny. It was just like, yo, I got these cards, and they just start playing like whatever.
I played cards as a kid.
But this was the most interesting I've found this whole story arc. So I hope they continue with this.
Well, that's like the most they've done with it.
Yeah,
really.
It is the most they've done with it.
And which is cool.
This is his third episode in the cell, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Something like that.
We've commented on a lot of these layer, not like layers, but like layer, like the Green Arrow's layer and stuff like that, and Damien Darhk's layer with like the random glowing
what are those things?
panels.
I think he went to IKEA.
But like he just has him in the Silence of the Lambs type of cage, just a random solo cell that he walks into in a dark warehouse.
Some LEDs in the background.
It's ridiculous. That's what I've always had a problem with. And then he's just sitting in there stewing in his cell. You'd be really pissed too. And Diggle hasn't really given. I think he, obviously Diggle went off the deep end kind of and just is like, you're staying in this cell, whatever. But if he had given him kind of like explain yourself to me, let's see how this happens, this is what goes on, and given him a sense of trust, great. But Diggle went the entire opposite route. But I think he's figuring out that, he's got to actually be a human being.
But I thought there was some really real world scenarios going on in that cell too. I like the whole conversation about what we saw in Afghanistan, how that changes. See a lot of stuff about soldiers going through PTSD. Of course, you had the Hurt Locker movie a few years back. And how guys standing in the grocery store looking at all those boxes of cereal and how meaningless is that? My life has meaning in Afghanistan, not here. How do you acclimate yourself when you come back to the real world? Also, the story about him being a drug dealer. I mean, like, that's the last time you gave me a whooping like that. Last time your knuckles were, bloody from beating me so bad. So I feel like we really got to know the two better. Like you said, Michael, this is probably the best scene between those guys yet so far.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting you brought that up, the whole drug dealer aspect of Andy, because I think that is the most information we've learned about Andy's this entire series.
Right.
And also it kind of leads to that credence that he's always been the bad apple. He's always been the bad. So maybe our Diggle I'm going to call him our Diggle. Our Diggle is the good brother, and Andy is the bad brother, which is an interesting dichotomy. Speaking of dichotomies, Felicity finds out she's not going to walk again.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Which, in a science fiction universe of this CW television, I find very hard to believe.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of that development? And also, I thought that their final scene together was quite good when Oliver was like, how did you become so strong? And she was like, is Damien Darhk going to be in Bali? Is that the reason why we're going to Bali? David, what did you think of that Felicity turn?
Well, it's interesting because, Jason, you were informing me that you saw an interview somewhere where the creators came out and said that she's not going to become Oracle.
They flat out stated it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I buy that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she's going to become Oracle as we know her that works with Bruce Wayne and Barbara Gordon, but I think she might be this universe's Oracle. If she's in a wheelchair and she's doing tech stuff and she's helping them coordinate attacks, she's Oracle.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Oracle does. I mean, unless she's going to do something completely different that we don't see coming, like she's going to become a superhero herself, or the Atom's going to design some mechanical suit for her to wear that allows her to walk and do all these sorts of things. Besides that, I think she's going to be an Oracle-like character, but I think it is interesting. It puts the characters in danger. I think that's the one thing about the show that I get upset about is I never really feel any tension. Like the whole scene in the flashback when Oliver has the gun. It's like,
we were joking
is he going to
about
shoot his head off? Is he going to blow his head off?
We made the joke that we were like, boy, I wonder if he's going to do it.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys agree, but I think this ups the stakes.
Well, every great
If she stays hurt.
every great comic franchise has to have somebody in a wheelchair. Dr. Xavier, right? You have Dr. Wells in the Flash. He was in the thing. So obviously we have to have Felicity in a wheelchair for a little bit. But she's definitely not going to be
That's
in a
only
wheelchair
two
forever.
examples, not everyone.
I was waiting for a few more. I'm like, yeah, that's two.
Every comic
At
franchise.
one point, Batman was in a wheelchair, and he got his back broken by Bane. Let me see.
Batman was probably in a wheelchair.
Yeah,
at
who's
some
the
point,
Superman
maybe.
character?
Wasn't Lex Luthor in a wheelchair at some point?
You're reading some very different comic books than I do.
Elseworlds.
I would just call it for the Dr. Xavier. We talked about it before we went on air that she's going to be paralyzed for a little bit, and Ray's going to come back, or they're going to take her to Harrison Wells on Earth 2 or something like that, and she's going to get fixed. There's going to be some kind of like zip up the spine, and then she'll be able to walk again. But they didn't give it away in the limo. She
didn't.
was seated in
They
the limo.
didn't.
True.
So
And they're smart about how they're handling the whole 4 months late. Was it 4 months or 6 months?
Well, now it's 4 months later.
4 months. Okay,
It
4
started
months.
out as 6 months later. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
4
yeah.
months. So I like the way they're handling that. But again, like you said, we live in a world where I agree with you. First of all, I think that she might be in a wheelchair for a little bit. She will walk again. I think with the whole Legends of Tomorrow, with the multiverse and all this, and Barry being able to go back in time, Barry's going to play a role in this. I think he's going to play some sort of role. We see him at the end.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean? So, and we do know he can go back in time. He can switch. He can alter things a little bit. It's very. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's possible.
Do you think this is going to be at the end of a big crossover event? Maybe
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be.
Well,
Maybe.
to me, last year, The Flash showed up in Arrow's finale, and Arrow showed up in the episode right before Flash's finale. They're totally going to cross over again in their finale somehow. They've always done it. I think they're going to do it again, and I think the Legends characters are
like
going to be
that.
there. Semi.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that too. That's the advantage of this shared TV universe that you can totally do that. Were there any other great moments in tonight's episode that stuck out to you?
I really enjoyed the relationship between Speedy and Anarky.
Okay.
I didn't love him per se, and I know you made fun of his acting for a little bit, which I wasn't totally sold on, but a lot of the villains in this show are very brooding and very,
He was monologuing,
very
yeah.
cliche. Definitely. But I really like the relationship, knowing she had the bloodlust, and he kept egging her on, and there were points, but I really liked that she was able to kind of hold it back, and I actually kind of enjoyed Anarky. I thought he played a really cool thing in this episode. I didn't love the mask, but other than that, I thought he was pretty spot on.
Yeah, when we were watching this, I agreed with you. I said the same thing. It's I actually like this guy's Anarky. I mean, I don't know about his fighting skills.
I like
where those came
the
from.
weapon that he had, the weird nunchuck bow staff.
Yeah.
Where do you get those skills from?
Well, we're gonna. That's why we move this conversation into the bad, the stuff that we didn't
We're
like.
gonna touch on that.
I didn't like Anarky at all in this episode.
Really?
Not one single bit.
You didn't like his coat hanger?
I didn't like that, and I didn't like how somehow he was amazingly a ninja.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere.
In the last episode, he didn't seem to have any fighting skills at all, and then in this episode, somewhere in between the episodes, he went to a
dojo.
A dojo for a year.
Maybe it's like Neo when he had something. He's like, I know
he
kung
beat
fu.
Green
He knows
Arrow and
kung fu
Speedy,
now.
which was ridiculous.
Yeah, I think what you have to remember is that he went to Nanda Parbat.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
It's always Nanda Parbat.
Okay.
That's where you go.
Done.
That's where you go.
Done. Explained.
What else stuck out of you as something you didn't like from this episode, guys?
Let's talk about Tim Tebow Jr. and Speedy.
Just not a fan
The campaign
of Tim
manager.
Tebow.
The campaign
Yeah.
manager,
Yep.
Tim Tebow
Politburo.
Jr., former. I just don't. Do we care about this relationship?
No.
Is this going somewhere?
I don't
No.
care about
I mean,
it
unless
whatsoever.
he's working for Dahrk or something,
Yeah.
But I think they did it with the DJ guy. who's now in the Shannara Chronicles. I feel like they already did that whole like she dates somebody or likes somebody who was actually working for the villain. I don't know. Is this guy? I think he's just there to die. I think he's going to die soon.
Just
I think he's going to forget
fodder.
clothes. He's going to die
to betray them, or
or he's going to try for the pro football
Speedy,
team. But,
like it just keeps proving the point that Speedy has a bad picker. Like every time she picks a guy, that's except for Roy. Every time she picks a guy, they're like they're out to betray her, or figure out who Oliver Queen is, that kind of thing.
And I can't help but feel that we all know that Roy's coming back.
Yeah,
don't know how long.
And he was revealed in the new trailer that Stephen Amell put out on Facebook.
Yeah.
Love triangle.
Yep.
And that's what I don't want to see. I don't go that sappy route. I think it's going to happen, but I hope they don't. Prove me wrong. Don't do that.
Did we?
I don't know what other angle they can do though.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a CW.
Yeah,
you know
they want that romantic drama too. Sorry,
unless Roy shows up and he's like, I have a real thing for girls in wheelchairs.
Because every great comic has a wheelchair.
Apparently, according to Josh Macuga. According to Josh.
Well, we have Felicity up here. Like I said, we gotta get the wheelchair version.
Oof,
that's a variant.
That's a variant. Yeah,
too soon, bro.
Too soon, sir. Too soon. Did we like getting to see Damien Darhk's family and his like supposedly summer home in this episode? I was really excited the couple reveals that we've seen in previous episodes of his wife and his family, and I was like, oh, this is kind of neat that like he's this total like evil monger in his villain life, but like he comes home and he's like, oh hey honey, let's put some stuff on the tree it was totally like that. And in this episode, I don't know if I was really that impressed by Mrs. Darhk.
I did not like that turn in the limo, like plotting.
Remember what you promised me?
She needed a mustache, right? She needed a mustache.
It was just a little too much for me. I like that. I would have preferred it to have just been Damien Darhk. He's the bad guy, and then if anything, that adds more layers to this guy because he does have a heart. Yeah. But now his wife is just as messed up as he is. So I was like,
his wife is a mustache twiddling supervillain.
Exactly.
I don't. Do we like the Dark family, guys? David?
I don't like how obvious it is, like how evil she is. Like I think about Daredevil. I think about Kingpin and his girl. I think her name's Vanessa, and I like that relationship. Seems a little bit more organic.
There were times when she turned pretty evil.
And granted, to be fair, this is already a family that's together. They already have kids, so I mean, it just seems like it's just too much.
Yeah.
Too much.
Josh?
Yeah.
Too on the nose.
I was very on the nose, very just mediocre. The reveal I thought was definitely coming. You can't have a husband that is a supervillain and not be somewhat supervillainous yourself.
Yeah,
I guess is the easy way of going about it. But yeah, in the limo, she was like.
I mean, the more interesting part, and I know I'm mentioning shows that it's not fair to compare Arrow to, but you think of something like Sopranos. Carmela knew exactly what Tony was doing, but she wasn't like about.
She always enjoyed the life more than she enjoyed the
exactly. There's more to it than just being like you're with an evil person, therefore you are also evil too.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know.
Yeah.
Also tonight we had the reveal of Dance to the group.
Oh, that's right.
Detective Lance and Debbie?
Donna.
There you go. I knew it was a D name of some type.
Oh, you're close.
Laurel apparently making jokes, cracking wise to her dad about having a girlfriend and stuff like that.
Yeah.
His wife left
him like
5 years ago, but let's still talk about it.
I would have liked a little bit longer beat with that kind of.
Yeah.
I really kind of like that relationship. It has a comic relief to it. It's kind of cool. I would have liked him and Laura to have like maybe 3 or 4 lines about the relationship instead of like, is that your girlfriend texting you? But, yeah.
Were there any other elements of this episode that you guys really didn't really like?
I think still the flashbacks aren't.
Let's talk about those.
The flashbacks. I mean, it's still early, but they're so short. They're such quick cuts.
There's not even a full page of dialogue.
Shows can change, right? Shows can grow organically. Let's talk about The Leftovers this season. Completely change its format of the show. Next season they could get rid of the flashbacks. They don't have to have them. It's not a necessity.
We're just waiting to get to
the opening moment from the pilot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I do want to see him in that beard again. He looks
That's
great. I do want to see that.
That's going to be the biggest storyline for me on that island is how they explain how he gets that much growth in less than a year.
Yeah, that's some good growth.
But that's the thing. Like I've said before, in season 1 and 2, those flashbacks actually led to something.
Yes.
And I feel like with last season and especially this season now, they're just their own thing. They don't really add much to the story. At least for me, I always just tune out. And just I agree with you.
Unless
next season
by
they got
the
rid of
end
it.
of the season we are introduced to Damien Darhk on the island,
or
something that we've seen so far with Damien Darhk or some kind of thing on the island to like get us to
Although that's going to be rough to do because Oliver doesn't know who he is when Ra's al Ghul mentions him in season 3.
Right.
Oliver has no idea who this guy is.
So maybe, yeah.
I don't know. Like, I agree with you. Like, yeah, in the first 2 seasons, the flashbacks always led to reveals or Easter eggs
Backstory,
of things.
like with Deathstroke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was happening in the current day. And for the last 2 seasons, it really hasn't done that at all.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I do agree with you that they could maybe get rid of them, but I don't know. I really...
Or maybe just some episodes, not every episode.
Yeah,
maybe.
they could do that. They could do that. But man, the flashbacks were so good in season 1 and 2 that I miss those flashbacks and I want them to come back somehow. I don't know what the solution is, and I don't know where they've gone wrong on this storyline because when they sent him back to the island at the beginning of the season, I was kind of like, yes, we're getting back to the island. That's exactly where you need to be.
Right.
So, what do we think overall? Let's go down the line, Josh. What do you think about this episode overall? What compared to the rest of the season?
It's a setup episode for sure. There was a lot of open-ended storylines. We got no resolve on anything, even with Anarky. So obviously he's going to come back. Overall, decent.
Straight middle of the road.
Straight middle of the road.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to piggyback off him. Decent. It feels like all these shows, The Flash, watch Star Wars Rebels today. Everything's kind of just moving the pieces, setting the board up, getting ready for what's eventually to come. I think it's going to be a great finale. I think this is going to be it's going to kick up. I can't wait to see the next crossover episode. I think it's going to be great. But right now, this was just decent. It was okay.
Yeah, I agree. It was definitely a setup episode, but I actually really liked it. I liked it a lot more than Flash.
Okay.
It was exciting. I'm not saying it wasn't my favorite episode of the season, but I thought it was good. I thought it did a good job of kind of like reintroducing us to this world after the break and, setting the pieces for the second half. And I thought the ending was phenomenal with Felicity in the limousine. I loved it. I thought it was great. Can't wait for next week.
That's what I was going to say, except for the reveal of the limousine. I really thought this was a very weak episode and one of the weaker ones of the entire season, which is kind of a little bit of a letdown because there were parts of it with angry Oliver being like, whoa, crazy.
And it closed
strong.
Really well.
Yes, agreed. And the middle was kind of like, okay, all right, I guess. All right, cool.
Seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, it seems like a nice little blend of green. Okay. Okay, let's look at some of the fan questions that you guys have sent us on the hashtag Collider Arrow. The first one comes from Chris Skalicki at Shalik51. After that ending, do you think we'll get a 1-by-1 slow reveal of who it's not until there's only one left? And he's, of course, referring to the grave. Guys, what do you think? Do you think that they'll slowly reveal more and more people? Like, we'll pull back to the camera, we'll see the left side of that graveyard, and oh, hey, there's Diggle.
I agree. I think that's exactly what's going to happen because, I mean, for like most people, they thought, oh, I think it's Felicity. Everybody here pretty much like, it's too obvious that it's Felicity. And I think that's why they knew that. And that's why, like, let's just show Felicity now, get that out the way. But I agree. I think that as the weeks progress, we're going to start seeing people like, Diggle or whoever is still alive. So,
David.
I think they're going to milk it. I think it's going to take some time for it to get there. They're going to build up. I think, like I said at the very end, whatever the next crossover is, whenever that's announced, I think that's when we're going to see it. We're going to see Barry go up there. They're actually going to see the grave from their perspective and see what happened.
I guess maybe the question I would kind of pose along with this is this going to be the last episode, and will they resolve to kill the person that is responsible for the grave? Or will this end this season 4, and then take us into season 5, and so Damien Darhk becomes the big bad again?
So you're saying the person that they have to kill will be in season 5? Not at the end of this
That's
episode?
interesting. So if that scene, the scene at the graveyard, is like the beginning of the finale of this season.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah, and then they spend that whole finale like going after Damien, or if it's, I don't think it's the ender.
Okay.
I think Arrow generally stops their villains at one season. Now they can come back and they can appear again, but generally like their arc is over. I think Damien Darhk is done.
Okay.
But I think you're right. I think that could be like maybe the ending of the penultimate episode or the beginning of the finale, which would be an interesting kind of chase.
And to answer that question, I don't think they're going to keep giving you hints of who's going to. I think it's honestly, they knew a lot of people were thinking it was Felicity, and they're like, let's get Felicity out of the way. And now
I think the next one's Diggle. I think they're going to reveal pretty quickly that Diggle's standing there somewhere too.
Or he's across.
Or he's driving the car.
Yeah, like
because remember there's that joke where he's like, I'm the black driver.
Yeah.
He's trying to Miss Daisy.
Yeah.
Let's do a quick update of the temperature of the tombstone. Who's in the grave? Who do you think now, Josh?
When I always saw the emotion behind Felicity, I want to say it's her mom, which would almost be disappointing, because her mom's like I mean, she's been in a few episodes, but I
Yes,
don't really
and
care
she was
about
just
her mom
recent.
that
Was she
much.
introduced last year or
Last year.
Last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like the budding romance between her and Lance, but maybe what my original prediction, which was Lance, is in the grave. That they became really close with Lance, and thus breaking her mother's heart that Lance is dead.
Ah,
That's where I could go with that.
David.
I guess because I don't know, Michael, because of how angry she was, I think it is going to be her mom.
Okay.
Just because of how angry Felicity was. Like, she seemed pissed. You know, Barry was just kind of there. He felt bad for him. He's like, "No, sorry this happened, man, but well, I'm going to go back to doing my thing." Oliver's angry, but Felicity, because I think it's her mom.
Mike.
Yeah, I think, like I said, obviously I said I think it could be the mom, but I agree with you too. I think there's a possibility it could still be Captain Lance.
Yep.
Simply because there's still a whole another half of the season left.
Yeah.
So first, they can still develop her
There's
mom.
like 10 more episodes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's a lot. They have to develop that relationship. So if it's Captain Lance, you have to assume then that the relationship is much further along. They've done, so then it would maybe break her mother's heart, so that would make sense.
Just means that Lance is a mover and shaker in 4 months, guys.
Right.
It's been a while.
I agree with you. I really hope that it is Lance. That's who I think just thematically through this season is the one that should be in there.
Because he's already sold a soul.
He sold a soul. He betrayed the team. He's kind of done some nefarious things.
Yep.
I don't know what you do with him once he knows the secret identities of everybody. Like, I really don't know what you do with that character going forward. But Felicity's emotion is now kind of leaning me that maybe it's Thea.
Thea.
That maybe it's Thea in there. Like, because I just don't know. I really want it to be Lance, but Lance and Barry and Felicity being that affected kind of makes me think that maybe it's not Lance. That maybe it's Thea.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's just a little of an inkling that I got from this episode.
Gotcha.
So let's see what the next question we got from Twitter is. Taylor Pector says, at the inspector, that's a great Twitter name. Sorry if I'm completely mispronouncing your names too. Was I the only one that felt that the clear mask looked a little bit weird on Anarky? I guess I'm just used to the gold mask. Now he's referring to, in the comic books, Anarky has this red costume with a gold mask. He's a Batman villain.
Yeah.
Very classic look. Actually shows up a couple times with that same outfit in the Arkham Knight series. It's really good. What do you guys think about Anarky's clear mask? Because I hated it.
Yeah, it looked a lot like what they wear in The Town, Ben Affleck, when they're robbing the banks, and they've got, or like that movie The Strangers. I hate that clear mask. It's creepy, and I guess it's very villainous, and it is scary to the people that they see it, but it really takes away from how dynamic the character is, I think.
I kind of like it because it is creepy. It's,
Okay.
it's a little scary.
All right.
I mean, it feels like almost has like that horror movie sense to it.
But he already
You
has
can-
a scary and creepy face. He doesn't need a
just-
mask.
He's double creepy, and he knows kung fu. And he knows kung fu. I mean, he's double creepy. Yeah. So
he's a
that
double threat.
mask has my approval right there.
I'm with this guy. I'm with David. I agree. I think he's just.
You want to double down on the creepy.
I'm gonna
Double
down
down.
on the creepy.
Why not just
I
be
like
regular
capoeira.
creepy
Yeah.
when you can be double creepy?
Exactly. No, I like it just because it makes it look like he's just soulless. There's nothing there, no emotion. Yeah, the
Well, I got
scar
that
and
from his
everything.
acting.
But I like it. It doesn't look. It looks like his whole outfit's just kind of thrown together. So I could see him just throwing a mask together and just
Nice.
he working it. So yeah, I'm
Cool.
sold.
Great. Well, I believe that is all for the Twitter questions. So let's move on into what we want to predict for the ongoing season or next week's episode. Now, let's just clarify that none of us here, we didn't get a chance to see the next episode trailer. So we don't know any spoilers. We don't know anything that's going to happen. Let's start with Mike over here. Mike, what do you think is coming for the rest of the season of Arrow?
Rest of the season.
Or next episode, whatever you want to
Okay, well, I'm going to go rest of the season. I
Great.
think, like I said, I still stand by the whole they're going to slowly but surely introduce who's not in the grave. I think, right now, I've settled on either Mama Smoke or it could be Captain Lance.
Okay.
One of the two.
It's
That's
going to
what
be
I'm sold.
somebody in dance.
It's going to be someone in dance. We'll be dead.
Our
Maybe
shipper
even
name,
both
yep.
of them. No, but I
Ooh, a
actually,
double grave. I didn't think about that. They'd have to put the coffins on top of each other, but it could work.
it could work.
Man,
It could work.
talk about doubling down on the creepy. That's where you go
Doubling
there.
down
That's like a
on the
double
creepy.
luge.
We're
Yeah,
going
the
dark.
Olympics.
No pun intended. No, so yeah, I think I like Felicity where she's going, where she's like this edgy Felicity, because up until forever, really. She's always kind of been like the comic relief in a sense. She's been, I love the scenes with her being strong. But she's been the funny guy on the team, So I like this like edge that we're going to see. So I think we're going to start seeing stuff happen to the team, happen to her that's going to take her down this road. Because again, if she can't walk, that's got to be hard on a character like that, right? So I think there are going to be some really good, powerful scenes maybe that we might see later on down the road where she's just like, I'm never going to dance again, or just something,
Gonna dance
Thank you very much. Thank you.
No, sorry, go ahead.
Stop.
George Michael
Copyright.
over
Stop.
here.
Stop.
Michael, yeah. George Michael.
I think we only have 2 seconds. That's it. So
Go ahead, sir.
So I want to change some of my theories around a little bit.
Okay.
Mixing
Based off
that-
of what Mike just said?
Yeah,
You're going to copy him?
Here we
Okay,
go.
cool.
Here it goes. So everything I said before.
Good thing you're only on 1 week
Let's
here.
throw it out the window. Yeah, so if it's right or wrong, you guys can't get on me because I won't even be here. Watch me come back on the episode when it's actually revealed.
Sure, that's gonna happen.
So I think it's actually Laurel in the ground.
Whoa,
And I think
interesting.
Nissa's going to come back and take the place of Laurel on the team and be a more permanent character, which she needs to do because I love Katrina Law. And
I
Katrina
love
Law is
Nissa.
fantastic.
I
want to see more Katrina Law.
Nessa.
It
Nissa?
is Nissa.
Nissa. I said Nissa. No.
Nissa.
Nissan. That's a car.
Nissan.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Nissa.
Copyright.
Copyright. Yeah. Again, copyright. Yeah.
I'm intrigued by that. I really like
I've
that.
yet to hear anything like that. on this
See,
Yeah.
I did. See,
Yeah.
I just blew everybody's mind.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
Interesting.
Sure, let's go for it. Yeah. Josh, what do you
Bravo.
think?
I don't think we're going to see Damien Darhk next week. I'm
Okay.
going to stick episode to episode. I kind of like doing that. Maybe I'm wrong because I haven't seen the trailer yet, but I don't think we see Damien Darhk next week. I think they're like, I know he's the big bad. I know they're really going after him, but there's got to be something going on with the campaign or something going forward because obviously we're going to see Felicity come back in the team. She's going to come into the lair in the wheelchair. I don't think she's going to be in the hospital again for an entire episode. I think that's kind of a waste. And I think they're really going to like hash out a plan of how they can take down Darhk because it obviously just going at him.
They don't know what they're
swinging
doing.
Weapons. They're like, we
You
can't
obviously
beat this
can't
guy.
shoot an arrow at him.
Yeah, right. And he's only like he said, hey, I'll let you enjoy 2 weeks with your family or a
Yep.
couple weeks with your family. Enjoying that means we got to devise a plan on how we can actually beat this dude because he can stop bullets, he can stop arrows, he can throw arrows with just going like that. So, yeah, that's what I think.
So I gotta say real quick, it was awesome to see him actually take arrows out of Oliver's quiver
That was
and
really
shoot
cool.
them
Put 'em
back.
back at
Yeah,
him?
that was pretty cool.
Maybe kind of
Yeah.
wonder, why did he try to fight him in the first place? When he could have just used his magic.
I don't know. Yeah, because we needed a fight scene.
Okay. All right. No, that's it.
Neil
Okay.
McDonough was like, guys, I really want to punch somebody this episode, so put me in a fight with Stephen Amell.
And he kind of crushed that. That was sweet.
I'm gonna in the next episode. I think we're gonna see a lot of problems with Felicity trying to do her same superheroing duties, and she's gonna have problems doing that. I think there will probably be some quips about how the arrow layer is not set up for a wheelchair. I think they're gonna play that joke.
Oh boy.
And
It's not handicap accessible.
yeah, it's not handicap accessible.
They can
I
drive
yep.
a car into it.
Well, I just think her getting up from that little island and going down. I
yeah.
think that they'll do. I think we're going to see some of her struggles that you're going to find out that she's not as fast, and of course she'll overcome them, which will make Felicity an even better character, in my opinion. And I'm going to throw out a crazy theory that we know Roy is coming back. We've seen Damien Darhk attack Oliver in the public before. I think Damien Darhk is going to do it again. And Roy is going to read about it, and that's what brings him back to Star City. That is my prediction, and that prediction is where we're going to end this Collider Arrow recap show. So guys out there, don't forget to subscribe to the Collider video channel, and as always, you can find us on Twitter with the hashtag Collider Arrow. But real quick, let's let our panelists tell you where you can find them on all kinds of social media. Josh Macuga, where can these lovely people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Josh Macuga and my YouTube channel, Between the Sheets TV. I'm also on the shows here, the Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is coming back in March, and the Walking Dead, which comes back February 14th.
David, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter. I'm in one form of social media, at Griffin DE. Also here on Collider, it's kind of busy this week. It was fun. I get to join the Arrow team this week. I did Star Wars Rebels this afternoon and Flash yesterday, so it's good time to be a Collider recap show person.
Hell yeah.
Good
The
time to
king
be
of the
alive.
recap shows.
And Mike, if I remember right, you have something called an Instagram account that you finally use.
Yeah, I don't know if you kids have
What's
seen it.
Instagram?
It's something cool, so it's come hip and trendy. It's called Instagram.
Okay,
You can
okay.
take photos and you can upload them to social media, and other people can see them.
Wow.
Yeah, there's like little hearts so you can like
Ooh.
a photo.
Wow.
So you can check it out, guys.
You're from
Seriously, check it out.
You're from the future.
I'm
sir.
from the future, yes. Legends of Tomorrow. No, you can find me on the Instagram at Mr. Michael Alexis 14. That's 14. And then also on Twitter at Mr. Michael Alexis, and as well as Mr. Macuga over here on the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. recap show in March.
Very nice. Very nice. You can find me on Twitter at Jawin, Jawiin, and at youtube.com with the same spelling. And of course, every weekday starting next week on DC All Access. Thank you guys so much for watching. Come back every week. We talk about Arrow every week. You should come back and hang out with us cool vigilantes. Don't forget to subscribe. Find us on Twitter, the hashtag Collider Arrow, and don't forget to hood up.